Good morning. I'm WBTV First Alert Meteorologist Eric Garlick, along with the Chief, Mr. Al Conklin. Thanks for joining us, Al.
Oh, yeah. Well, no, thank you. Let's get to it. It's the First Alert. We're going to take a little time here to break down some of the things that we've been looking at, not just for this week, but going into this big holiday weekend. And, of course, the check of the tropics. We're coming up on the peak of hurricane season. And we see a pattern change that's evolving, likely for next week, Eric.
And the end of meteorological summer.
Yeah.
And the unofficial start to fall as we head into the weekend. So a lot to talk about and a lot to break down. So let's kind of break down what we're going to be talking about today. Going to be dealing with some rain, but more so the heat and humidity as we go through the day. Today is what we're going to be talking about for today. But as we head into the weekend, those rain chances are going to start to climb as we head into the weekend. So expect some of that wet weather to start popping up back in the forecast.
The first alert, though, for today is really geared more for the heat and humidity. I know you're mentioning the start of meteorological fall, and we'll explain the difference between, you're saying, wait a minute, I looked at the calendar, fall doesn't start for 3.5 weeks. What are these characters talking about? Well, meteorological fall actually starts this weekend. Again, we'll talk more about that. But for today, it's more about summertime heat. In fact, I think we're probably getting up to about 96 today. If that happens, Eric, it would be the hottest day this month. And here we are at the end of the month. We hit 95 yesterday. We were 95 back on the 1st. But we had very, very warm weather this morning, so we're on our way here. But there is a risk for some thunderstorms.
Yep, and people might already start being able to travel for Labor Day weekend, but really want to focus on the holiday travel and what you can expect and kind of look at across the region before we kind of dive into that more local forecast. So let's kind of talk about those conditions that we are going to be seeing. Taking a look at that travel forecast, we'll take this full for you. And this is a radar loop of what we can kind of see happening as we go through really today, tomorrow, and into Sunday before we start to see things changing a little bit, but this will loop through and show you exactly where the showers and thunderstorms could potentially set up as we head through the weekend. Here's another look at that. So if you are traveling, the beach, Atlanta, Darlington, Richmond, you can see quite a bit of activity across the area, but those temperatures pretty close to average, hovering right around 89 degrees as we head into the weekend.
Yeah, now this is kind of interesting because you can kind of pick out where the front will be based on that green and the yellow, and all that. Yesterday, Chicago, or actually I think it was 2 days ago, had its hottest day of the summer, but yet you look at this weekend, they'll have low humidity, temperatures in the 70s for highs. So that's a little teaser of what will be coming our way once we get through this upcoming weekend. But in advance of this front, we will have high heat and high humidity. The highest heat will be today, but the humidity level is going to remain in that tropical range right through the upcoming weekend, and that will be the fuel for these thunderstorms. What's the trigger is the frontal system moving in. That'll eventually knock our temperatures down.
And we're going to see a big change in our temperatures as we head into next week with highs only in the 70s potentially.
Yeah.
So some big changes coming our way, but you got to get through football Friday night before we head into the holiday weekend, right? A lot of big games going on. Most of them start 7:30 on Fridays. Looking at those temperatures at 86 degrees at 7 o'clock, 81 by 9 o'clock, and 78 at 11 o'clock. Big change from where we were last Friday.
Yeah, no doubt when it was so comfortable and so cool. Now, we do have some thunder and lightning in the forecast here, but overall, the risk for thunder and lightning in any one, stadium, ballpark, high school, during the Friday evening time frame is pretty low. So again, could there be some delays in these games? Absolutely. But is it likely to get washed out due to thunderstorms? No, I don't think so. We had this question come up yesterday. I do think these games will be okay. Again, you may have to work around Mother Nature a little bit. Perhaps if there's lightning in the neighborhood, you may have to adjust the kickoff a little bit. But overall, I think these games will probably wind up being okay with temperatures that'll start in the 80s and wind up in the 70s by late evening when all the kids are probably going to get milkshakes at cookout, if I know the drill here. I have a teenage son at home who goes to all the football games, and they always seem to wind up at a cookout.
Hey, not a bad place to end the night, right?
Not at all.
Speaking of the cookout, we got the race at Darlington that we're going to talk about in just a minute. But if you're going to be in Charlotte for Labor Day weekend, this is kind of that forecast. Saturday, 90 degrees, Sunday, 89, 87 for Monday. Notice those rain chances are there each and every day, but as we kind of showed you on Futurecast, not going to be an all-day washout necessarily, but we will have those rain chances at points during the afternoon and evening.
And primarily that during the afternoon and evening. So if you've got morning, midday plans, you're more than likely going to be okay. And again, none of these days looks to be a washout at this point. But we are looking at higher rain chances, certainly than what we've seen in the last week and a half. And so as a result, your radar is going to be active. So download that free WBTV weather app. You'll be able to track these showers and storms. Also, you notice the trend. We go from 96 today to the lower 90s tomorrow to 90 on Saturday. We're just headed down, down, down ever so slightly. Now, initially, it's because of cloud cover and rain, or at least the threat of rain. That's going to knock the stuffing out of that 96-degree day today. So as we head towards the weekend, again, the numbers will just go back closer to normal by the time we get to Labor Day.
And as I mentioned, got the Cookout 500 going on down at Darlington this weekend. A lot of activities starting, with those youth races on Friday, and then we kind of ramp up into the 200 on Saturday, and then of course the actual 500 on Sunday. That goes off at 6:30.
Yeah, 6:30.
Or 6 o'clock.
Yeah, just about 6 o'clock. But by the time everything gets going, it'll probably be about 6:20. Last year, there wasn't a cloud in the sky. It was a hot day. We didn't have any risk of rain. There is a risk for some showers down there. So again, just understand that if you're heading down that way, there is a risk for some thunderstorms this weekend, all those days, but it doesn't look to be off the charts. And again, seasonably hot. You got to expect Labor Day weekend in South Carolina. Yeah, you're going to be close to 90 degrees here on Sunday afternoon.
And again, primarily, rain chances should be during the afternoon, kind of peak heating of the day, and a lot of that has to depend on a cold front coming through the area as well.
Yeah, we'll take a moment here to just welcome along some folks that are watching us this morning. We appreciate you tuning in. Britannia out in Gastonia, always loyal. And Shirley up in Salisbury, good morning to you. SC in Charlotte, hello, good morning. Brenda in Morganton says it's a pretty nice morning up there. And Kathy in Iron Station, we love hearing from all of you. And tell your friends about us as well. We do this every Thursday at 8 o'clock in the morning. And of course, Lisa does a version Monday night at 9 o'clock. And of course, usually, Eric, we have an update 7:30 in the morning as well. So again, if you happen to wake up a little bit late, you're running on errands, maybe getting the kids to school and you miss the news, hey, we're usually here for you. So check us out. Now, this is kind of interesting. A week ago, Eric, we were 81 degrees here in Charlotte with dew points that were in the upper 40s. It was so comfortable. That morning low temperature was 59 degrees. Boy, have things changed. Now, we saw this coming a mile away. And we had been warning folks even last week, enjoy it, enjoy it, enjoy it, because we knew what was coming. We're returning to summer, and it came back in a vengeance here. Yesterday, 95, the day before, 93. I think today we could be about 95, maybe even 96 here. So it's going to be a hot one here, and it's not just the heat, but it's also the humidity. You've talked about that already here this morning.
Yeah, I had some folks reach out to me on social media and shoot me a text. All right, we're past fake fall. Are we going to settle into some cooler temperatures as we head past this? I said, well, we're going to be a little cooler, but still got some chances at hitting some above average temperatures as we head into fall. And speaking of those above average temperatures, 90s by month today will put us at 43 for the month and for the season, 13 for the month of August. So it's going to continue to be warm. Another one for today.
Yeah, and more than likely tomorrow will be day 14 for the month of August. That would put us at 44 from start to finish. And of course, as we've mentioned many, many times here, we started off kind of quiet. Usually we get 2, 3, 4, a handful of days in May. We didn't get any. We didn't get any for the first 2 weeks of June either. So, it was a really slow start to summer. But as typical, Mother Nature has a way of working things out. From Father's Day weekend on, we've had more 90s than anything. But still, though, 44, we're getting close now to the end of summer. And we will likely see a handful, maybe 1 or 2 here, in September. Not going to be in the first week of September, but it's possible. So again, I talked about this last week that I felt like we'd somewhere between 44 and 49, which is what we did last year, and I think that's probably about right. I don't think unless we get some late season heat wave that we don't see coming, but probably not.
Yeah. So taking a look at those temperatures the next couple of days, 96 for today, 91 on Friday, 90 on Saturday, potentially, unless you get one of those storms to pop up right over the airport, right as you get that reading of 89 degrees or so, and it'll knock those temperatures down, and that chance of hitting 90 will be gone. But look at Tuesday and Wednesday.
Yeah. See, now this is not what you want your retirement plan to look like, right? You want it to look like how we went from last week, which was all straight uphill. But again, there's always a market correction, it seems like, and a roller coaster, and that's what we're doing. We're going to just sort of ease on back. We'll drop about 4 or 5 degrees tomorrow, another degree on Saturday, another degree Sunday, And then as we head into next week, we see a little bit of a wedge developing, which is sort of an early fall type pattern where it's going to knock the temperatures back. Now, what we're not 100% sure of is how much cloud cover there might be, how much rain there might be, but clearly we are looking at another pattern change here as we start the month of September.
Yeah, and speaking of the start of September, in case you were curious what average high temperatures should be, we were talking about 75, 76 for those temperatures for the first couple days. Our average high at the end of the month is 79 degrees, so we're going to be running well below average when that wedge sets up for early next week and keeps those temperatures in the 70s with that cloud cover and even some rain chances as well. So something to keep in mind, going to be dealing with some of those cooler conditions as well. So we'll be watching that closely.
And one of the things that's kind of interesting on this graphic, Eric, you showing this from September 1st through the 30th, we dropped from an average high temperature in Charlotte of 86 to 79. It's really at an expanded rate here. For the month of August, as an example, we start at 90, and by the end, we're at 87. So it's really a sort of a slow pace.
Yeah.
But boy, it really, as these nights get longer and you get those infusions of cooler air, the averages drop. It's not to say that's the forecast, but those averages go from the mid to upper 80s at the start at Labor Day to in the 70s by the end of the month. And then as we get into October, it really kicks in as well. And next thing you know, you got the hoodies on and you're getting the leaves up, right?
Yeah. And in our books, we kind of mentioned this earlier,
Yep.
September 1st is the start of meteorological fall. And what essentially the idea behind that is, it starts on the same day in the same time every year. It's basically for record keeping, and just kind of signals that shift. The equinoxes happen at different times every year. Could be on a different day. So technically, the start of fall, and you start looking at fall temperatures and summer temperatures and things like that. It just makes it a lot easier to pull up 3 equal months every year and be able to look at it and be like, okay, we averaged 89 degrees for summer.
Well, and right to the point being that, as I just said, we start early August, the average high temperature is 90 and it only dips to 87 by the end of the month. So it's a very slow pace. June, July, and August, that's meteorological summer because on average, that's climatologically when the hottest 3 months of the year are. When we get into September, we start to get this cooler weather. So September, October, November, that's meteorological fall. And then one of the 3 coldest months, December, January, and February. Even though it's still technically winter, as we get into the 3rd week of March, we know the crocuses start coming up, the daffodils, the Bradford pears, we're starting to warm up already. So there's a lag there a little bit. So that's why when meteorologists look at things, we go, what are the 3 hottest months of the year? Okay, June, July, August. We're in the 3 coldest months. December, January, February. It just sort of works that way. It's better for our kind of record keeping, but we know the rest of the world doesn't operate that way. But again, even though it's September, we're still technically in summer, but clearly temperatures are heading down.
And I'm surprised we're not getting comments on here. No, don't wish summer away. We still got a lot more time to go.
Oh, no, yeah, we're not wishing it away. I love it.
But
I love it. But yeah, temperatures will be warm. But again, if you're asking us, what do we see coming? We're seeing cooler temperatures coming. So I want to say good morning to Dantha up in Lenore. We mentioned Kathy. Diane is up in Lenore as well. Kathy in Statesville. Hey, good morning. Glad you're with us. Real quick, let's get a check of the tropics. And I say real quick because you know what? There's really not that much going on. It's been very quiet. We had, this is coming like little spurts here, if you will. Fits and spurts is the way this season has gone. It was kind of active early on, then it was kind of quiet. Then we had Debbie. That was a big deal. Unfortunately, we had fatalities even in North Carolina. Then we had Ernesto that's made a direct hit on Bermuda. And we had, unfortunately, drownings down along the beaches. And then nothing for 2 weeks. Now we got a little something that we're looking at as we approach the peak of hurricane season here in the next 2 weeks.
Yeah, so really, okay, and just getting an update from the Hurricane Center, that was yellowed this morning. The update they just put out this morning, it'll probably be a 30 or 40% chance.
Yeah, I would imagine
medium.
Probably a 40% chance that this little swirl that you see between the back edge of that and the 3, our logo there, this is a little something that's trying to organize right now. So look, this is still days and days and days away from even the Caribbean islands, let alone the United States. But clearly it is moving west-northwest, and they feel like it will be in a better environment for development over time. And so,
40% was the update.
Yeah, so that makes sense. So again, that's something we're going to have to keep an eye on. The next name storm would be Francine. So we will be monitoring for Francine, but if you're headed to the beaches this weekend, yeah, nothing to worry about in terms of the tropics. It's all pretty quiet. So here's our 7-day first alert forecast. We got a lot of things going on. The heat index today in Charlotte probably tops out about 102, maybe 103. Actual temperature about 96. This is the worst of it, though. The humidity level will stay high Friday and through the weekend, but the temperature is back down because of more clouds and better rain chances here. Not to say it's a washout, but better rain chances. And then next week, we will see what happens here with this wedge boundary that's trying to set up. We do see definitely cooler weather, how quickly it gets in here, how much rain might be associated with it. That's yet to be determined, but we will update this forecast. Again, Eric and I will have an update about 7:30 tomorrow morning. And at that point, we'll show you the 10-day double weekend forecast. And of course, Alicia, Rachel, and Lisa will have an update later this afternoon on WBTV.
Al, thanks for joining me.
Yep.
Appreciate all of you enjoying us this morning as well. Hope everybody has a great day and a great weekend and a safe Labor Day weekend as well. Thanks for joining us.